Hi, everybody. We're here. I'm doing two programs today, but guess what? We had the cooking class. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm going to let Chef Mike Wilson take over. Chef Mike Wilson, we're making fresh pasta today. I'm so excited. So, Mr. Wilson, it's on you.
All right. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Thank you, Boomy. Today we're going to be making fresh pasta, and we're going to make it from scratch. These are things that a lot of people may have at home, and if you can't have certain things, don't use them. If you're allergic to eggs, don't use eggs. If you're allergic to maybe the flour, use a different flour. Okay. So what we're going to start out with here today, we're going to make a well with our flour. Here I have 2 cups of flour already measured out. So we're going to put it on our board here, and we're going to make a well. So basically I just put my measuring cup in, and we're going to make a deep well. We're going to make it big because we're going to be putting our fresh eggs inside of here to make our pasta. So we have 4 eggs. So we want to make sure that we crack them into a separate bowl because your eggs could be bad, and we don't want to add a bad product into our good product. Okay? So we always want to add our eggs separately. So we got 1 egg. 2 eggs. 3. And 4. If you like to have your pasta more eggy, you can just add the yolk. Reach in there, take the yolk out, and just add the yolk in, okay? But that's our 4 eggs. So we're going to put that to the side. Now we're just going to take a fork, and we're going to mix the egg yolks up and the eggs right in the middle of our well. We're going to add in our bit of oil and our pinch of salt, coagulated, and our pinch of salt. So we're going to mix all that together, breaking the egg yolks up and mixing it in. And what we want to do is slowly mix in our flour, taking it from the sides, slowly mix it in as you go around. So, making fresh pasta is something that will definitely taste a lot different than your store-bought pasta. So we're actually only going to make the pasta today, so that you can see the different shapes and textures. Parents will have to cook the pasta for you. Basically, it's going to be a pot of boiling water with a little bit of salt, and we're slowly mixing in the flour as we go around, okay? Take a little bit of flour every time you go around. So, when you go to the store, you come home with pasta that may be in a box and it may be hard. It's going to take a little bit of time to cook. With our fresh pasta, it isn't going to take as long. So you're going to need to watch it. So we're slowly incorporating the flour, going around the sides. As you can see, it's going to start to get thicker and make a dough. Just continue to go around. You're going to keep incorporating that flour. Keep incorporating the flour. See, it's getting thicker. We want to try not to let our walls get down so that our mixture gets outside of it. That's why you want to take a little bit at a time. Little bit at a time, going around and around. And if you'd like to, you can definitely put your hands in there, especially if the children are making it, let them get in there, feel the food, feel how it feels, feel different textures, see how it goes from one stage to the other. At this point, as you can see, it's a little bit thick, looking like a little bit of Play-Doh. Mix it in, mix it in. At this point, I'm going to take my pastry scraper. Remember that tool we've used? Pastry scraper, you can get it from the dollar store. And we're going to start to incorporate it, scraping from the bottom, okay? We want to get all that flour, get everything mixed in. This is where you'll start to use your hand.
Can the children use the scraper? Is it sharp?
Children can use the scraper. It is not sharp. It's a very safe. This is what they use. Most pastry chefs use to put together their doughs and pastry doughs and pâte sucrés. So from this point, we have a nice dough that has started to come together, and we're going to need to knead it or roll it together for about 9 to 12 minutes. What we're doing is we're incorporating the rest of the flour, and you may need some extra flour to coat this so that it doesn't stick. So this is where, children can get in here, or, even parents, and just get in there and knead it out. What we're doing is we're trying to incorporate everything in. We want to fold it over, and we want to roll it. Use the palm of our hands. It's a little moist today in the atmosphere, so I'm going to need a little bit more flour. A little foggy outside, so sometimes your flour will react to your weather conditions. So we definitely want to make sure we have plenty of flour on it so that it doesn't stick. We're going to roll it and knead it. Roll it and knead it. Fold it back up. And we're going to do this for 9 to 12 minutes, making sure that we keep plenty of flour on our board so that our dough doesn't stick. So we're going to roll it. This will make you have a nice, silky, textured dough. A little bit more flour. And what we're going to need to do next is we're going to need to let this dough rest. So what we've done, there's a product in here called gluten where it makes things able to stretch. What we need to do is to let that rest in flour so that we will have a tender dough. So what I have to do is I'm going to cover this with some plastic wrap. And we need to let that sit in the refrigerator for about an hour. And what it will do, it will relax your dough so that you can have some tender pasta. So I would stick that in my refrigerator for an hour. I would clean up my board. And I have some dough that I've let sit out and rest that we pre-done. So we're going to flour our board, plenty of flour.
This was the previous dough.
This dough was done prior. So what we have is the dough that has rested. And now we're going to cut it down into 4 pieces. Just take your pastry scraper, divide it in the middle.
How long does the dough have to sit?
You need to let the dough rest about an hour. And we cut it into 4 triangles. Now you can cut it down further if you like to make it more manageable. So when we're working with one piece of the dough, we want to keep the rest of it wrapped up so that it doesn't dry out or form a skin. So what I have here is a dowel, and it's basically my rolling pin. You know, you can find, if you don't have a rolling pin, use a bottle, use a can. Don't let anything stop you from making this pasta. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll this out. And you want your pasta to be thin. You want it to be, you want to be able to almost read the newspaper through it. So we want to keep lots of flour under it. And we're going to just roll it. Make sure you keep your dowel or your rolling pin also flour. So you got to make sure that you keep plenty of flour, especially on a moist day like today with the fog and everything that's going on outside. Humidity plays a big part when it comes to working with flour and pastas and things like that. So we're getting there, as you can see. A couple more minutes. So today we're going to cut down some spaghetti, and we're going to make some bow tie pastas. All things that you can do at home with a little bit of time and effort. Should be no problem, and some good eating. So here we have our pasta, pretty thin. I can see my fingers through it. So this is what pasta looks like before it comes to your table or to your home if it's in a box. There we go. A little bit more flour to keep things moving. So now what we have to do is we're going to cut this down. We'll make bow ties out of that. And we're going to make some linguine or spaghetti out of this. Okay, so we definitely want to put some more flour, both sides. And what we're going to do is actually just fold it over, nice and easy. And we're going to take our pastry cutter and we're going to cut it down. Linguine is a pasta that's sort of thick, usually. So we're just going to cut down less than an inch. You definitely want to make sure you have plenty of flour on your board. All right. And as you can see, we want to take them apart. Making sure that we keep some flour on them. So if you don't keep flour on them, they'll start to stick. And you're basically just taking them apart. We want to make sure that they're not sticking. This right here will probably feed 1 or 2 people. And there we have our linguine. Get it with a little bit more flour to keep it from sticking together. And there you have it. That's your first set of linguine. We're going to make some bow ties out of this, or farfalle pasta, which looks like a bow tie. So we're going to cut a strip, a little bit of flour, and we're going to cut them into about 1-inch pieces. Then we just want to pinch it. Pinch it in the middle and make it look like a bow tie. Pinch it in the middle. Press it down, make it look like a bow tie. People in Italy sit down and they make these by hand all day. So, and your pasta doesn't have to look perfect. This is a pasta that we're making from scratch. We're making it at home. It will look rustic, but it will taste good. So we have the linguine, we have the bow ties. So we can also roll out another piece. Make sure you got your flour. I'm going to need some more flour, excuse me. We just want to roll it out. You can make raviolis with these. You can make anything that you can think of. You know, whatever shape of pasta that you like to have. If you have a cookie cutter or round cutter, you can roll it out, make raviolis. You'll cut them in circles, fill the circles. And you want to, like I said, put it in a pot of boiling water. Once they start to float, they're just about done. You will taste to see if it's the texture that you like. You know, some people like theirs to be al dente, which means tuck to the tooth. Just going to cut this down. We're going to make a rolled pasta using a fork. All right. We're going to cut it down. And what we would do is we would take a fork and use the back of it to roll the pasta off of. It's going to have a fork indentation on it. Press it down and push it off with your thumb. Press it down, get the fork impressions, and push it off with your thumb. We want to thank everybody for coming in today for the pasta class. Please let us know if there's any other things that you would like to see for the cooking classes. We just want to take time out to thank everybody for tuning in. I know Boomy is doing another class right now. We want to thank ODUNDE365. And we also want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to make sure that people are eating and people are making good foods. So we want to thank you for tuning in, and that's going to be our cooking show today. You know, making fresh pasta. It doesn't take much at all. You know, just take your time, put it together, have some fun kneading it and cutting it into different shapes and sizes. Large pot of boiling water. Let it come to a boil with some salt in it. Put your pasta in. Let it come to a boil again, and then drain it. Add your sauce, and you're good to go. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Michael Wilson. Thank you so much, everybody. As you can see, I'm at another event that we're doing. Yes, I'm multitasking to the highest level. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Irma. We'll see you next Saturday. Next Saturday will be our last cooking class for the fall. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining. Hi, Michael.